What is up, you guys? That Nerd Isaac 2006 here, and in today's video, I'm bringing you guys part 2 of my Constructicons Christmas Special. Today, we're going to be taking a quick look at Studio Series Hightower and Studio Series Scrapmetal. So, if we get them in frame, let's get to it. Starting off with Scrapmetal, I think that this guy is just such a fun figure, honestly. He's so much fun to handle. He has quite a bit of posability that we'll get into later. I think this guy is just such an underrated gem, honestly. He feels very solid. I've literally had this figure since it came out. So none of the joints have degraded in quality whatsoever. All of the hinges have remained tight, and you can see that I have dry brushed him a little bit, as I discussed in part 1 when I looked at Scrapper there. But yeah, this guy, he holds up. He's quite the durable figure, and I really do appreciate that quite a bit. And spoiler alert, you're gonna see quite the contrast when we take a look at Hightower over there. My boy has a tail. I want to know why. YouTube has absolutely no reason to monetize me. Getting into Scrapmetal's articulation, my guy is actually jam-packed full of posability. So, he does have a ball joint at the head. He can look up that far, down quite a bit due to an extra hinge thanks to the transformation. He can do a whole bunch of wiggly waggly motion, and he can do a full 360. Arms are on ball joints. They can do full 360s. He has a double joint at the elbow. They can go out that far. He has a bicep, actually no, that's an elbow swivel right there, and he has a hinge at the wrist as well as a hinge at the thumb, mainly for transformation. Once again, nothing at the waist sadly, but his hips can kick forward that far. He can kick backward only that far. It's kind of limited, unfortunately, but he can do a beautiful spread. He has a thigh swivel, and he has a bend at the knee. You can get him very chicken-legged. You can get that fully straight if you want him looking a little bit taller. It's completely up to you. Unfortunately, no ankle pivot, but he does have some toe hinges right there, and that's pretty much it. My guy, if you know what you're doing, this guy can be quite a bit of fun to pose around. I do like him quite a bit. Overall, I think Scrapmetal is quite the enjoyable figure with his big ol' meaty claws here. I think that this guy, once again, is quite an underrated gem in the Studio Series lineup, and I don't think that you should pass him up, especially if you're trying to complete Devastator. Duh, you need him. Go out and... never mind, he's actually quite expensive. Go get a knockoff. Never mind, those are also pretty hard to get from my experience. I'm so glad that I got this guy the day that he came out. This is a few days later, so I may sound a little bit congested, but I'm just now realizing that I forgot to talk about the vehicle modes when I initially recorded all of this video, so I think Scrapmetal's excavator mode here is quite solid. I think he compacts and consolidates into such a neat little construction vehicle, and I think that this guy is just very satisfying. He rolls very well. He doesn't feel unsturdy. I think that this guy does this mode very well, and it's very easy to get him into his hand mode from this mode, so I think that's an added bonus. So next up, I shouldn't treat him like that, but my guy is so loose. It's so sad. And since we're on the topic of looseness, bro. Also, don't mind the damage on his little grabby claw thing there. Dogs kind of suck, guys. I'm kidding. I love dogs. I think Hightower here is quite the oddball of a figure. I love this design, and I really want to love this figure, but he's got quite a few things holding him back, such as the looseness, as we've gone over, and the fact that this guy is just kind of short. He's not quite as tall as he should be, and here's an example of that. This is supposed to be a big old crane, guys, next to a bulldozer. I don't think that's how it works. As stated, I really do love the design on this guy, though. He looks very insectoid, especially with the big old butt, in contrast to never mind, there's not really a fucking waist there. I do love the elongated neck that he's got. The legs just look gorgeous, honestly. He's got some legs that can make him do a whole bunch of weirdness, frankly. And I think that this guy is just so unique. I just wish that this figure could have been executed just a little bit better, frankly. Getting into Hightower's articulation, this guy is somehow jam-packed full of posability. So, he does have multiple hinges there at the neck. He can look up that far, down, all of the way. Unfortunately, no side to side at the neck, but he does have a tiny little ball joint there at the head that can do a full 360. Mine's neck likes to pop off a lot. That is also on his own individual hinge right there, and he does have a little bit of wiggly-waggly motion. So, that's awesome. He does have a tiny little hinge at the elbow there, or at whatever kind of arm you want to consider that, I guess. His legs can do full 360s. He can do he has a beautiful spread. Bro, what even is this supposed to be? I swear to God, Michael Bay and the designers were on crack when they made this thing. I swear to God. He does have a hip swivel, thigh cut, I think, if that's a thigh. I don't really know, honestly. He has his own separate swivel right there. His legs are full of articulation, man. I swear to God. He has double hinges right there around the ankle. Those can do whatever you want them to do. And the treads are also on hinges. And that right there is on a hinge. So you can literally get this guy doing whatever you want him to do. And I think that's awesome. Not to mention also the crane can also do like a whole bunch of wiggly-waggly motion and hinging and shit. So, yeah, this guy is very expressive, and I do like that quite a bit. Overall, I do like Hightower. I think he's my least favorite of the Constructicons, frankly. But that's not to say that he's an absolutely awful figure. He just has some issues, and time has not done this guy the best of service. But I think for what it's worth, this guy is decent, and I'm glad that I have him. And I mean, I don't know how many times I can really nail this point in, but if you want Devastator, you kind of just you gotta get him. Getting into Hightower's crane mode here, I think that this guy is a little less serviceable than Scrapmetal. The back just doesn't it doesn't sit well with me. There's a whole lot just jutting out here. It looks like he has a butt. It just looks like he has a butt on the back of his crane mode. And this all doesn't really tab together too well. And I think that this guy just could have been done a little better had he been a Voyager, had he had a larger budget. But I think he's decent for what we got, frankly. That's going to do it for me tonight, folks. If you guys enjoyed this video and would like to see more, please be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. And part 3 will be coming here very shortly, actually. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been That Nerd Isaac 2006, and I am rolling out. Peace.